It is that time once again. We are back. A brand new week on a brand new night. We are unedited, unfiltered, and we are going raw. My name is Joey.
And I'm Eric, and we're your hosts, and welcome to Raw
Yeah,
Minds.
buddy.
Here
Fuck
we
yeah.
are, buddy. Episode
We're doing it
9.
again. I love it.
Yeah, buddy. Fuck. So, how are you,
I'm
man?
doing okay, man.
What about this car thing's really stressing you out,
Yeah,
eh?
fucking. I know I mentioned it a while ago, but my car was stolen with my wallet,
Yeah.
and they found it, but it's fucking torched. So I ain't getting my car back. And now it's under investigation at
No.
ICBC, so I gotta wait now for that. So, as of right now, I no longer have a vehicle, and I gotta figure it out. So, but
Yeah,
you know
that's
what, man?
fucked.
It's like we,
Well, buddy.
always say, it's you gotta find the positives and the negatives, right? Like how I act, or I had a few
Yeah.
shitty days at the beginning when it happened, probably 5 weeks ago, and but
Yeah.
now it doesn't matter if I flip tables, punch holes, it's not gonna change a damn thing. You know what I mean? So
Well, that's what we say. That's what we say. You don't stress over the shit that you can't
I got
control,
zero
right?
control what
So,
happens now except waiting for a phone call if they're gonna pay me out for this car or I gotta find a I don't know, man. But as of right now, what I do know is I don't have a car. It's gone. So time to start the new year with a new fucking Ferrari.
fuck, right? Let's do it.
Trade trade up the fucking Mazda for a fucking sports car, right?
Yeah, man. Enjoy it. Have a fucking midlife crisis. Let's go.
Only if I had 200 to drop on a car.
Anyways, yeah, and it would have to be a Porsche.
I'd rather pick a Porsche for sure. But yeah, no, I'm okay,
Ye
man.
well,
It's definitely been ups and downs, but as it is with life in general, with anything, right? When I look back at
mhm,
everything in my life, I'm like, this I've been through a million times worse. So I have no control over it.
yeah. Like, what else you got? Throw it all at me. What else you got? Kinda shit. No
Fuck, dude,
problem.
it's like
What's
paper
next?
cuts now. They're not, it's nothing. So just one
Yeah,
thing I got.
exactly. No
Yeah,
shit
it's
hurt
just
though,
one thing I
man.
got to deal with. It is what it is,
Fucking
right?
paper
But
cuts.
anyways, what about you, Eric? How you doing, brother?
Yeah. I'm good, man. I'm good. My project's almost coming to the end of it, so, it's, Fraser Mills, which is a huge thing. We're building the presentation center there, so it's pretty exciting, actually. It's a big, statement in Coquitlam, definitely. We're building 5,500 homes, so it's, pretty crazy. So it's big, man. It's huge, actually. It's big and it's exciting. So I've had a pretty good week, you know? Not bad, and then I got to spend time with the kid. That's always
Oh,
great, right? On the weekends, I get
100%,
her, so
100%. Anytime with your kids is the best time, right? So,
yeah, man. Yeah, exactly. Well, should we
fuck,
get
let's
on to
do it,
this?
buddy. For you guys listening out there, thank
Alright,
you
man.
again for tuning in. It is always our pleasure to be sitting here with you guys. We look forward to it every week, as you know. Uh, it really makes my
Mhm.
day to be able to come out here and chat with these awesome guests and with Eric, and just try to really reach out and let you guys know that, man, you're not alone in this shit, and we're here, right? So if you guys
Yep,
ever have any
yep,
real concerns or issues, or you just want to talk, you don't have to use your real name. Email us at rawmindspodcast@gmail.com. If you really want to get
yep,
deep into conversation, feel free to leave your number. Me and Eric will answer the calls and messages the second we see them, because we genuinely care about you guys, and that's why we're doing what we do. So
yep, and our, next guest is proof of that, we, put something out and he got to us, right? So,
yeah, so yeah,
I mean,
there you go,
proof
right? We've already had a lot of amazing guests on the show, and we're gonna have thousands more to come. And to be sitting here again, like I said, and to have our next guest here gonna be really kind of diving into some of the things that he's been through in his life, and hopefully that it resonates with a few of you listening, that you're not alone, and we all go through this shit, right? And we'll do our best to
Yeah.
try to navigate on how you know the tools we use to overcome some of that. And our guest is willing to share some of the tools that he used to get over this, and you know or still dealing with it,
Mhm.
but on how to deal with it better, in certain situations, right? So uh, well,
100%.
let's get right into it and introduce our guests. We want to thank Kyle for coming on the show. It's a real pleasure to have you here, buddy.
Definitely pleasure's mine.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Kyle.
Hey, Eric, Joey, great to see you guys. Super grateful for opportunity to talk with you guys. Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
Yeah, well, we're grateful to have you on here. Definitely.
100%, man.
We
It
appreciate it,
means the
man.
world to us that that we're able to touch, a few people at least that want to, you know, show these guys especially that it's okay to open up and talk about what's going on in your life, right? Otherwise, how are you going to fix it, right?
We've
Are you
learned
gonna,
enough by now over the decades of doing it the wrong way. We know now you got to talk, you got to get vulnerable, you got to open up, you got to talk to as many
100%.
people as it takes. God knows I've talked to lots of people
Yeah.
to get help with stuff over the years. Yeah.
oh, for sure. And a lot,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
that's why we're doing this.
Go, go ahead, Eric.
Go ahead, Joey. That's why we're doing this, right? We wanna reach out and touch everybody, and I think podcast is the way to do it because you can listen to it anywhere around the world, right? And a lot of people listen to it, and hopefully one day we're big as Joe Rogan or even bigger, and he'll be on our show.
Yeah,
So,
no.
that's the goal, it's the dream, and it's just, help people, man. That's all it is. Like Joey said earlier, like off camera, like we're helping buddy there, and it's amazing, right? So and that's what we want to do. We want to push forward and just help people and know that we're a brotherhood and we got to stick together.
I see that
So
too. And the quick thing
well,
is like I saw, oh yeah, kind of a new podcast, episode 9 here, kind of small, whatever. You guys are doing big things already. Like it is ain't no small thing at all.
yeah, man,
This is not nothing. So I see that right away.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
appreciate that, man.
Like even some, like I said, the emails that we got even in our second weekend, we're just like, holy shit, like this is unreal.
Yeah,
Like the
Wow.
and we're doing it just to reach at least just one person to save their life. You know what I mean? To knowing that we used to be in those dark rooms of just loneliness
pain
and
and suffering, man.
struggle, and and having those moments, or even trying, like for me it was, I didn't want to be awake anymore. I couldn't deal with it. It was too hard. I was so gone and so lost, and to know that you know other people that are going through it even right now, and you guys listening, that's what we're here is because we've been through it, and we're living proof that if you put in the work and you really try to come out of that, you will. And that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and
Yeah,
it does get better. And that pain that you think will last forever doesn't. It is.
You know what I noticed?
temporary.
Not to cut you off.
Now, go ahead.
Yeah. What I notice is when I'm so down and I'm like, there's just no trying to, when I'm so down, fortunately I don't ever think of ending it. Okay, I'm so grateful I don't have that far down feelings. I do sometimes think, all right, I'm not going to be able to strive higher or to accomplish more or have anything I want, live my dreams. I'm just going to have to survive. I'm just going to survive, and whatever happens,
Mm,
happens. Rent is light all the time. Relationships end. You know, the time with kid diminishes, etc. Things might get worse, but I can't do anything further. I'm just gonna have to be okay with surviving, and whatever happens, happens. Living in whatever home I can afford, whatever home I can live in, and stuff like that. So, and then you're right, it absolutely just goes away. I can get as down as you can imagine, or just feeling hopeless and like, oh, like that guy described, and then it ends, and I get in the dark room, almost like you say, literally, and the light off, and bury my face in the pillow or whatever, and just lie there for like, I don't know, a couple hours or whatever. Like it was this birthday party. I think it was like even my kid's birthday party a couple months ago. I got down on like, I effed off for a couple hours, just like just chilled. I went for a walk first, and I was in my bedroom for a couple hours, and and man, it's like so hopeless. And then it does end, and I'm like, you know what am I gonna do? Like, what am I literally gonna do? Well, I just have to try again, and like, well, this day sucked
Mm-hmm.
ass. Well, tomorrow I gotta try again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, humans need sleep every day. Go the hell to sleep and try again tomorrow. And that
Yeah.
helps a lot. Tomorrow, every single time I wake up in the
Yeah.
morning, I feel way better. I have huge fights with the wife, and like, of course, I feel better the next morning, just like that. And I can try again, and I don't have those hopeless feelings anymore, and I have a bit more
Well, and
empowerment.
that's the beauty of it. Well, that's the beauty of it, right? Is like, you have opportunity after opportunity. If you had a shitty day, like you said, then you just, lay down and just mark that off as a bad fucking day, and start all over again. It's not a video game. Like if you die, you fucking die. So don't go out and fucking play that game. But I
It's just
mean,
a day.
just yeah, it's just a day exactly. And I mean, those problems are still gonna be there. But like I said in my last episodes, is every time you got a problem, don't just let it throw it away and I'll deal with that later. You got to deal with it now. You in order to move forward, you got to deal with your
All
past.
right, there's a lot of that too. Tons of that.
So
Yeah, it's not about that's not the
yeah,
whole solution. It's just wait for next day. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of work. We can get into whatever you guys want to get into.
yeah. Well, you got to put in the
Oh
work, right? I mean, you can't just like if I go to sleep, it'll go away. No, no, no. You got to understand too that that's just rest from that day and all the emotions and shit that you're going through. That shit is still going to be there the next day, but now you've had a rest. You've slept on it and you're more clear headed. Like when you're in a fight with a relationship or with someone, clear heads always prevail, right? You're both hot headed. You're going to say some stupid shit and shit's going to kick off, right? So that's why you step back, man. Like Joey, like we said last time, you two steps forward, one step back, or whatever the hell it was that he said. But I mean, you're stepping
it's
back
still
either way,
progress.
man, and you're going forward either way. But you're stepping back and you're looking right. You get to see the picture. Okay, wait, hold on a second. You know that was stupid that way. Let me do it this way instead. And that's how you learn your lesson. It's not failing. Failing is when you just quit. That's failing. Don't do shit. You know, it's a lesson that you learn, and that's every lesson I learned in my life was. I fell down and I figured out how to accomplish what kicked me down, and that's what it's about.
That's true.
But
Yeah, like you.
let's go ahead, Joy.
No,
Sorry.
no, I was just gonna say, and like you guys are saying, it's a lot of people. I think they let the moment interrupt their movement, right?
Uh,
So you
Mm-hmm.
never let the moment interrupt your movement, but a lot of people do, right? Because you have that moment in your day or in the week or whatever, and you're on this path trying to do this and do that, and then you know something goes sideways in the business you're starting, and they quit. They do this and they quit. They stop. They fail, and they fail because they just give up, right? They're so people got to realize, like when someone even in a day, like, you have a shit day, but really, did you have a shit day or did you just have a shit moment in the day? Because something happened to you in
Yeah.
the morning and you let it affect the rest of your day, right? That didn't your whole
Mm-hmm.
day wasn't shit. That moment was shit, but then it turned worse because you allowed it to turn worse. Because now your energy, your negativity, fuck this, shit, and you made it yourself become a bad day. You just had a
I
bad
gotta say this.
you just
Well,
I
had
you're
a
have to
gonna.
bad
say
moment.
that. Yeah, because the moment isn't your fault necessarily. However, overcoming it, moving forward, and taking responsibility—that's responsibility to do something to try to make the rest of the day better or tomorrow better. Not let it bug you. That moment's going to happen to you all the time. Life is going to throw
Yeah.
garbage at us forever until we're dead. Hopefully, at like 100 years old, and then it's our
Yeah.
responsibility to deal with them. And like, if you get big about it, macro, which I often are forced to do, then I'm like, there's going to be all these horrible things. There's a whole bunch of magic in life too. the world and people
Yeah.
and relationships and life. It's sheer beauty a lot of the time, and that's what we can
Mm.
focus on. There is
Yep.
never shortage of amazing amazement and magic in the world in everyone's life, I think.
Well,
Yep. Well, it's like riding a bike, man. You guys are gonna think I'm crazy here, but I mean, it's like riding a bike. Think of it this way. So the first time, you're riding a bike, you're like, it's the first time you're learning how to ride a bike. You're fucking falling all the time. You're scratching your fucking knees. You know what I mean? You're falling, but you still fucking get up and try again, right? And you fucking fall again. You hit a fucking curb and you go flying. And you got a mouthful of grass, but you still get up and you ride that bike again. A couple days go by and you're fucking doing wheelies down the street, you know what I mean? It's like that. You gotta think of it like that. Shitty day, yeah, that's me falling off the bike, but yet I'm still gonna fucking learn how to ride that shit and go
It's not
through it.
really complicated if you have that mindset. Yeah.
but
Yeah,
a
man.
lot of people too
Yeah,
is that's where their victim mentality comes from, and poor me. And but people realize like you are where you are in your life only because of you, nobody else. Because there's a
yeah,
lot of things in my life and a lot of people's lives that were out of your control when it comes to like very traumatic experiences, things that happened to you as a child. I get it. But as you get older, it's up to you and you only on how do you fix those core problems? How do you move forward from what has happened to you? How do you change the direction of your life based on, a heartbreak or a relationship ending, right? So everything after that, it's only 10% what happens to you, but it's 90% reaction to whatever it is, right? So anything
yeah,
after that, and people always play, well, it was because of them I'm like this, and because of him I did this, and like, no, it's not. It's none of that is because of them. It's because of you. You chose that. You might have been in a bad headspace. I get it. You might have been fucking heartbroken, depressed. Like I've been to the point where I almost took my own life. I get it. But you still make the choices after that and how you deal with that and where you go from there. You and you only. But too many people play this victim
yeah,
mentality and then they poor me and then they sit on that and they play that out for 2, 3 years. And then, like we said in the podcast or in our episodes before, is you just end up bleeding on everybody that didn't cut you with your
Oh
fucking
man, that was a killer line.
yep,
your bullshit, your fucking past traumas. You're carrying it and giving it to somebody else that didn't deserve it. And I did it, and I didn't do it intentionally. But when I do my own therapy and I look back, especially in relationships, fuck, I was bleeding all over everybody. And I didn't even
Okay,
realize
man.
it because I was
yeah,
so faint and on autopilot because I was losing so much blood that I didn't even realize that that's what I was doing. And that's why, because you get to that point, I think we mentioned this before, that you just let that cut get so big and not stitch it up that now you're about to basically bleed to death. And that's why I stood or people to the point where they take their own life or almost do it because you're not fixing that and healing
yeah,
that, right? So when they sit in this victim mentality and this and that, like that's on you. You're where you are in your life because of you, not because of what they did to you 4 years ago. And people hold on to all these grudge, and I get it. You have hate, you grudge, and especially when it's things that, like I said, were out of your control, like as a child or a passing away of a family member or something. You know what I mean? And it's sad, and I get it. But after you try to grieve and deal with those traumas, then it's up to you where you go from there, right? So do
Such a
you
tough
just
reality.
and just
mhm,
like you said, Kyle, it's like, well, then you'll have a bad day, but it's only up to you to change to make it better days. What can you do to make it? And that's what
get
gets
on
you out
that
of
bike,
those
man.
dark rooms that we sit in as men, especially, is we don't know or have we don't talk about our core issues and how to deal with those traumas to go from there to make those changes. Because like me, I buried that shit for years. Failed relationships, all this shit. We talked about this before. And I just pushed everybody away. I shut down because I'm a man. I'm supposed to figure this out. I couldn't figure it out, and I was struggling even harder. And then I just got pushed over the edge, almost literally, right? So it's up to us as people and as men, especially. that whatever it is that we're dealing with, and whatever happens in your one day or in your week or in your childhood traumas, is to fix that and make the best of what you can moving forward.
with help together if usually
Exactly.
necessary.
And that's why
Yes.
we're all sitting here now, is because we're living proof that we were there to get to this point. And hey, I still struggle every day. I have anxieties. I got this, I got that. But I still choose to find the positives and the negatives. And I have kids that, rely on me, and family that love me. And I got to make the best choices I can, even in the days where I fucking hate life, because we're all going to have them. Whether we're,
Yeah.
and like you see these celebrities and multimillionaires that have everything and fame, but they're committing suicide.
Right.
Why? They got everything. Most people are
Mhm.
like, why would they do that? You got everything. But it doesn't matter, because it's what's going on up here, right? Just because you have a shit ton of money and everybody knows you doesn't mean you don't have childhood trauma and you don't have this that you never dealt with. And these people, like those celebrities or whoever, is because you didn't deal with the core problems, and it built up. And as men, we let it build up, and boom, there you go. And now we're fucked.
You know what? Even when we know we let it build up, okay, we can know this so easily. Okay, we're men. This is over. We know that we tend to bottle things up and not share and sit on things, and we think we're fine. Even knowing that, we still do it. I still like medical things. Like I'm 40 now, and not like anything changes in a day, but uh, if something's like with my body and I'm like, not sure if that's normal or healthy, I should get checked out. Okay, I'll do it sometime. And like months can go by, and I'm like, probably should check just in case, right? So, mentally and physically, we still do that. You got to be really on top of yourself and not wait. Man, you got some good points there, good wisdom. You've learned a hell of a lot. I love the we bleed on people that don't cut us. I think I did some of that today. I think I did that today. So yeah, talk about
Mm.
like traumas and things that continue and doing the work and deep things and things in the moment, right? Macro and micro. Man, you gotta do so many things. Like yeah, it is okay. I gotta say this analogy. I've learned so many things like analogies or whatever. When you talk about having a shitty day and stuff, uh, and you got kids, like kids are so easy to have like a positive impact on us. Like, oh, we got kids, not just we're responsible for them. We got to do what is best for them and be here and everything for them. We owe it to
Yeah.
them, right? We made them for God's sake. Not just that, but they give us
Yeah.
brightness.
They count on
They
us.
give us so much magic. Like I said, there's always crap that's
Mhm.
going to hit us at random times. Sometimes there's always the magic still there. And you know what? Like this. Like I've had so many meditations and apps and stuff. Even my kid, my 6-year-old, I give her trying to meditate with her and help her with her issues because she's the one I'm co-parenting, right? And and one of the things
Mhm.
is like there are clouds in the sky and there are storms and there are lightning and hail and black skies and storms that last a long time. The blue sky is always right behind. The clouds will clear. The blue
Mhm.
sky is always there. Just gotta wait for the clouds to move over a bit. Isn't that cool?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
true, man. It
You
really
see
is
it all the
true.
time too.
You know
Or
what
you
I
see
mean?
it.
And sometimes you can't see the blue sky because the clouds are there, like you said, but they'll go, and then you will see that blue sky, or or the
Even
rainbow,
Well,
better.
and
whatever it is.
that's the same analogy as like you having a better life, a great life. It's all right there. It's all right in your head, right here. That's it.
Right.
Everyone's searching and waiting for people to save them and change their life. When you get, it's all right here. All the answers you,
You
all
live
the
your live in
answers
heaven
you
and
need,
hell, man,
all the
on your
answers
life.
you need in your life is right here. And that is your blue sky. But it's so
Mhm.
clouded with fucking stress and depression, and as us as men is fucking trying to be the best dad and work hard and make this much money so you can take your wife, and all this is your dark clouds because you're constantly letting this cloud weigh you down in front of that blue sky, right? And like you said, once you get to
Mhm.
be able to open up and not let that build up, like you said, Eric, and it starts to fade out and thin out those dark clouds, right? And you start to see more clear,
Mhm.
because when you see more clear, you see a much clear, brighter day. when there's no clouds in the sky? Well, it's the same as your thinking, right? Because now you're pushing out and all these clouds are starting to fade away and you're opening up a whole new mindset and a whole new light to how you look at life. Because
Yep.
when I was sitting in
Yep.
5 days in my bedroom and contemplating my life, to putting in the work and fast forwarding all this positive things I started doing to build up my self confidence and this and this and this, I have never looked at life in 41 years ever than the way I do right now. And I spent 20 of those years in a fucking lightning storm and I never seen a day of blue sky. Right? So it's up to us to change that mindset and clear those clouds in your head, right? And by doing that is
Mm-hmm.
talking, figuring out your what your real issues is. Accountability is number one, and most people are in denial because they don't want to admit that they were maybe abused as a child. They won't want to admit this, and they might look this way and look. Who fucking cares? You have to be selfish, and you have to fix you first, no matter what. Anyone says.
And burn bridges, bro. You know what I mean? Burn those fucking bridges. Who gives a shit? Throw gasoline on that motherfucker and burn it because if it makes you level up, then whatever. Like I say, fuck it. They're not coming to your birthday party. Who gives a fuck?
But that,
I
but
mean, be
that,
respectful
but
about
that's
it, but I
another
mean,
thing is when once you level up and elevate and start doing these and to get out of that dark room and to clear those clouds is you start attracting more sun more and if we're speaking in this analogy of clouds and sky, the birds and the fucking, what I mean, all this positive things and make your days better. So people don't realize that
yeah,
you're going to go through a period of loneliness when you start peeling that orange or whatever you want to call it, and that's what happens when you start getting out of that dark room and trying to build yourself, right? As
You
you'll
know,
lose friends, but they, I
yeah.
just heard this not too long ago and it makes a lot of sense, is that you're growing up is when you start losing friends because you start
Oh
seeing them
wow.
for who they are,
yep,
and you realize, and a lot of people stick with them and like, well, I've known him for 20 years and he's a nice guy, but yeah, he's nice, but what the fuck is he doing with his life? He's got no ambition, sits in the same local bar on a Friday night, still fucking does lines, whatever it is, and nothing's changed in his life in 20 years.
No, no
That is
thanks.
bringing
Not
you
helpful.
down. You can still be friends, but you got to surround yourself with people with drive and ambition and goals, because who you hang out with alone will fuck your whole life up. So if you're in that and you're down and you're
yep,
like, yeah, everyone wants to be distracted and hang out with friends because it's easier, so I don't have to think about my problems. That's a lot. The worst thing you can do,
Right here.
right? Is because
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
you're distracting yourself and
yep,
avoiding it. And again, like we always do, bury it, bury it, bury it, bury it. Oh, and then you're fake happy for a weekend, and then you're by yourself,
Yeah.
and then you go and distract yourself again. But you're not even dealing with it's there. And as you get older, you realize you're like, fuck, man, like I'm not. But you put it off. Oh, I'll deal with it later. I don't have to deal with it. You let it build up. Your wife pissed you off. You don't say nothing. Let it build up, and boom, once you break, because I've seen the biggest fucking juiced up dude break to the point of almost taking his life, crying his eyes out because he was so messed up because he let all these things build up and it fucking, just like me, it almost took my life.
well, it doesn't matter if big or small,
It
right? It
doesn't,
really
but
doesn't matter.
and that's
Everybody
the thing is
suffers. Women,
we're
yep,
trained in society to be the leaders and which, for the most part we are, but at the same time, we've said this last time, we're not fucking robots. We got feelings.
mm,
We got,
yep,
but men don't know how to really talk about that, right? Because like just like me, I buck and bear it. I'll figure it out. It's not your problem. It's my problem. If I love you, like I got to deal with this somehow and figure it out. But I could never figure it out because I was already fucked up, and I just kept
And
putting.
it's so hard to realize, like when you talk about a coping mechanism. Okay, when you talk about distracting yourself with friends between the ages like 15 and 25 or more, maybe that's 10 years or maybe more. My whole thing was I just want to be with my friends and smoke weed. That's all I want to do. And like, my parents had issues a few times, and they got separated a couple times. When I was like 19, which is like apparently the worst time for your parents to separate. So now I need to have that adult role models and to help me really go out in the world. And I didn't have much. They were breaking apart. They got back together, and who knows if it was a good decision or not, whatever. But all I wanted to do was go with my friends, smoke weed. I did it most of the time. It worked out most of the time, and I didn't know I was coping with my issues and my unpleasantness, my unhappiness, really, based on started from trauma, whatever, neglect, and whatever happened in childhood, and just being unhappy. I didn't even know I was unhappy, and I didn't know I was unhealthily coping. It was effective, but it was very temporary. The weekend goes by, and then Monday comes back around. Shit, it's Monday morning again. I don't really love my job. Although back then, my jobs were kind of cool. Even warehouse work, right? More friends, right? It's kind of easy. People are
Yeah.
all often the similar type of people, and that was good. So,
Yeah.
so first of all, like, am I unhappy? Talk about the dark clouds. Like, am I unhappy? Why? Why are the clouds there? What are the clouds? What caused them? And yeah, who put them there? Why are they there? But how do I get rid of them? So it's not just about get rid of them for the weekend. Like, people must notice. Like, you talk about the people go to the bar every weekend or something. It's, man, you waste a lot of your life. You waste your whole life probably doing that. I never really did that, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes uh, people waste their whole weekend, and then they waste their week too, and they're temporarily happy, and they repeat
Mm-hmm.
the cycle every week for what, decades? Is that what we want to do? Like, what kind of life do you want to live? People
Yeah.
don't
People.
really notice. Hey, oh wait, I can live my dreams. It is all up here, like you say, Joey. I can have it. I can do what I want. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
why are the clouds there? What can I do to get rid of them? Who's there to, I should ask for help. Anyone, a friend,
Yeah.
a counselor, a podcast. There's so many resources, especially today. So it's about kind of, you got to acknowledge at some point, hey, I'm a little bit unhappy. I'm not really living the life I want to live. What can I do about it? Like, okay, I had a shitty day, not happening today, tomorrow. Oh, the fight with the wife, oh, this, the eight things compound against each other. Fine. But let's, tomorrow, do something. Okay. It's up here. I'm accountable. I'm responsible. I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
There's something around. I don't know if it's society or systems or our culture, or sometimes I look at race and nationality and similarities we have. I'm like, what is it? What is keeping us down? But we can overcome it if we really try. It starts maybe with acknowledging I'm unhappy. Why are the clouds there? What can I do to get rid of them? That's what I want to focus on. I'm done talking about my problems.
Well, that stems from your parents, right? A lot of it
Well, it
stems from
all
like
is, I think,
childhood,
trauma.
um, right? Yeah, definitely,
Yeah,
exactly, right. And it's what you grow up in, like abandonment, daddy issues, mommy issues, you name it, right? There's tons of shit that all affects from like when you're a kid. I got a story for you. So when I was 5 years old, um, my father kicked me down the stairs. In a short story, my mom found out my dad was cheating on her with a girl that was going to BCIT. She's 22. He came home, kicked, chased her with a knife, kicked me down the stairs. Um, I went to a camp and I got in trouble. And in this camp, uh, at lunch, after lunch, sorry, my punishment was to eat cubes of meat for like 45 minutes. So this lady, her name was Miss O, we called her. She'd grab a fork and had cubes of meat and jam it in there and then jam it in my mouth and nonstop. And then she like swallow, swallow, and I'd like try to swallow it. I'd run to the bathroom, go puke it out, come back, have to sit down, and she would just be jamming this shit right in my fucking mouth until it was all done. And it was like McDonald's trays of this shit. And it psychologically, PTSD fucked my mind up from eating meat, man. I didn't eat meat till I was 32 years old. Every time I wanted to eat meat, fucking smelled good, like I wanted to eat it, trust me. But every time I put it in my mouth, I would puke because it brought me back to that childhood trauma.
that's a story.
And yeah, yeah, it was pretty fucking crazy, man. I mean, I was scared to tell my mom when I came home, because um, I was a kid. I didn't want to get in trouble, you know. And I thought, I'm a kid. I don't know if this is good or not, like, I don't know. I'm only a fucking child.
That's amazing.
So I never told my
Eric,
mom.
that is absolutely amazing. I'm like shaking my head, like trying not to like say anything. What the heck are you talking about? That happened. That's insane. So
Yeah,
anyone out there, who's thinking, I don't think your childhood's that impactful on adulthood, right? Any negative experiences for like what,
Man.
45 minutes? You're like 45 minutes. That's a morsel of your life, even your childhood,
Give or take. I
whatever
mean,
it
I was
was.
5 years old at the
Yeah,
time, so I
whatever it
don't really.
was,
Yeah, but I mean, it felt like an eternity. I'll tell
impacting
you that.
you until you're 32, and that's so amazing. That tells you so much, right? That tells so
Yeah,
much about humans and the human brain. You're trying. I mean, I've delved in so
yeah,
much. I've researched so much. I've done tons of counseling myself. Everything's childhood, and there's. I think I don't know if
yeah.
everyone has trauma, probably traumas or traumatic events, but how many of us have? Yeah, something happened as a child, whether it was the parents or someone else, school or the camp. Yeah, affecting you until your adulthood, and then you
Yeah.
got to do like me. It was like 10 years of like kind of off and on, but pretty regular therapy, and I'm still go here and there. I love it. I always tell
Hmm.
people I love counseling. I have a small business now. I go to my customers, and if I see there that have phobias and stuff, I see them unhealthy. I'll slide it in a little bit. I'll be like, well, if you're that, I do pest control. Okay, I do pest control. So if it's like ant phobias and rats,
Yeah.
people are scared.
Hey, you can plug your shit, man. Plug it. Plug it.
Oh, sure, I'm the
We're all
pest
good.
boss. The
Plug
pest
it, brother.
boss. Yeah. So
There you
that's so
go.
nice of you. So
Get at 'em, man.
yeah,
Get
but
at 'em.
people, yeah, people are not like I need the business, but I love choose my clients, and people have big phobias on rats. Kind of seems reasonable. Spiders, ants. When it's bugs, okay, spider phobias. Why are you so scared of spiders? It's not Australia. They do not poison us. We're in Vancouver here. They do not. We don't have
Yeah.
crazy aggressive poison
Indian
spiders.
spider,
So I'll
man.
slide into them. I'll be like, uh, hey, I've gone to therapy lots. Just go to therapy. If you don't want to beat this phobia, go to therapy. Right? I'll tell people, go to therapy. That's how much. That's how much the stigma's been removed. That's
Mhm.
how much I don't care anymore. I don't care how people might take that. It's the right thing. We have trauma. My buddy years ago, I used to hang out with my child. One of these guys I ran to and smoked weed with when I was 20. Right? Like, just get me, man.
Mhm.
You ready? I got a joint. You want to smoke it? Right on. I'll be there in 12 minutes. All I cared about. And then and now I don't even like
Yeah.
weed. I don't even like smoking it. I'll do it once in a while, maybe at some whatever it is, or
Not me.
only if the U.S. government's listening, just hemp. It's only hemp, right? and and
No, man. I
yeah,
fucking
yeah, but
smoke
it's
weed all
like
the time,
I don't
bro.
even
Every time
want
I
to
do
do
a
it. But
podcast, bro.
um, this guy, he's like doesn't like birds, bird phobias. He's like fucking birds, right? Like
Mhm.
scared of birds because like something like they were playing cops and robbers or cowboys and Indians or something back in the day, and he was like tied up and birds like I don't know shat on his face or whatever it was. Something happened. He's traumatized. Doesn't even like birds. Like 20-year-old guy. I don't even know if
Yeah.
he solved it. You gotta go to therapy to beat that. Anyways, getting off topic, but childhood, adulthood,
No,
boom.
no, but I mean, it all stems from, like, childhood trauma,
Yeah,
definitely.
come on.
So, let's get into a little bit here. So can you touch on, a little bit of, like, what's affected you in
All
your
right.
life here in this last little bit that you were
Yeah,
talking about
thanks. All
earlier?
right, all right. Let's do that. It's interesting because I say sometimes, and I think it's kind of funny in a way, because never had abuse, never had physical abuse, sexual abuse, not drug use, domestic violence in the household, weapons, right? Nothing like that. And
Mhm.
and sometimes I say, man, if only I had that instead of just some moderate neglect, maybe I'd be bigger where I am today. If only if something worse happened. You see people, some people are going through extreme adversity like that, and they either go down to shit and they, drugs and early death, that kind of thing, or, they often, what I see is they skyrocket out of that and they achieve huge things, right? And so that's where we want to be.
Mhm.
So really, my childhood was just, I mean, there's alcoholism for one, but I was like, not my whole childhood. Once I hit like 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, there was yelling. It was yelling. My older brother was a premature, so he had like some physical issues that had to be just helped, and there was my parents were traumatized from that. So he almost died as a baby.
Mhm.
I think that traumatized the adults. My mom was freaking 21, my dad 25 or something, 26. They probably had trauma from this experience. So I was neglected.
Mhm.
Parents were never really there for me. They never really, I was bullied in school. I was so shy. Man, was I shy. Whoa, it's all for. I asked my parents permission if I could go pee at like 4 or 5, 6 years old, right? I like talking to teachers, talking to kids. Kids would ask me in the playground at daycare, "What's your name?" I'd say, "Why do you want to know my name?" I was so scared of kids. Man, that shaped my life. I was bullied. I was so shy. I was picked
Really?
on. I was the target. Obviously, we know now, and my parents didn't know how to deal with that.
Were you uh,
Hmm?
were you an
No,
only
no,
child?
older brother. He was bullied too. We were both bullied because they're both shy, both neglected, both had some issues in the household, but it doesn't have to be abuse.
Can I ask you something? So were your parents together at
Together
that time?
for all the time, for together the whole time, but they
All the
separated
time,
for a
okay.
couple months here and there when I was like 17, and then
Yeah.
again maybe when I was like even like a few years ago. I think they took a break. I'm like, oh, okay, we're fine. So like that's it. They're together the whole
Mhm.
time, and they threatened to whatever, this and that, arguing and yelling. But I grew up with yelling and slamming cupboard doors and screaming
Mhm.
and crying, and skidding out of the driveway and
So,
peeling out and slam doors. That was my childhood kind of, and that was trauma. Who knew?
see, that's
Who
what I
knew?
said. That's what I think that made you more,
Scared.
um,
Oh yeah.
closed off is all the
Oh yeah.
yelling and everything like that because, I mean, that kids shouldn't
No.
see that shit,
And we
you know
don't.
what I
We know
mean?
now. Sorry,
Kids should
we
not
know
see that.
now. I'm so fired up. We know now
Yeah,
how impactful it is on the brain and how it affects your adulthood
yeah,
unless you actively work it out with counseling, really, or to go. That's probably all you can
yeah.
do. So yeah, that was the main thing there.
Or yeah, so that's what definitely I think stemmed, from your shyness or, like, being really like, closed, definitely. I was kinda like that too, like, actually, if you mentioned like, as you mentioned that, because there was fighting all the time in my
Yeah. Why wouldn't a
house, you
kid
know?
behave like that? You know what? I gotta say something real quick on that
Yeah.
note, because when I was 19, my 19th birthday, I worked during the day. It was a Saturday. I'll never forget the day. I worked during the day, had no plans, couldn't even, like, my friends weren't throwing me a party. Even my friends still then, still pretty shy, but I had a circle of friends. We smoked weed, like I mentioned, and parents, no one threw me a party or anything. And I there was a party going on. My birthday's near Halloween, so there's a Halloween party I went to, and barely had money to go in, ticket, and didn't have anything, didn't really fit in with this crew. They, were down, but not much. And I laughed, and it was just nothing happened. I went to bed at before 11 or something like that. It was a horrible day. That day, I want people to listen to this because, yeah, I had technically a shitty childhood. Technically, there was neglect. There was that
Mhm.
kind of stuff in the household, trauma, that kind of stuff, and no support. Really,
Mhm.
there's no support. Like, no questions. Like, how are you feeling? Why are you sad?
Yeah,
What can we do about it? We just didn't know. My parents didn't know. Right. This is 40 years ago, 30 years ago. I
yeah,
don't blame them at all. And on 19th birthday, I'm like, I don't want this. I don't want to be shy. I don't want to be a virgin. Still a virgin at 19. Okay. I don't want to have like these friends where all I do is smoke weed. I don't want to be shy. I don't want to not have any game with girls. Right? Couldn't come on, talk to women. Talking to
yeah.
women, asking them on dates, having things to talk about, having any confidence. Forget it. I use movies. I use people I saw around me. I use trial and error. I got stories about trial and error with women and make you fool myself, falling on my face and not failing because I didn't give up. And now, right, I got two kids. I've had two women, whatever, with two kids with them, two different moms, whatever. But I'm married now. She's over there. She's great. And so it all kind of worked out. It's not all easy roses every day, of course. Man, I made this conscious decision. And
Mhm.
I want to share this because I feel if I can do it, other people can do it, right? And I just said, I don't want to be
Yeah.
shy anymore. And man, did I ever, the pendulum swung, my friends. I became overconfident. I became a bit of a dick here and there. I mistreat some people here and there, but I try to balance it. Okay, okay, I'm too far, too far, too confident, too loud, too confident.
You're trying to learn who
Yeah,
you are, right,
that's
at the
how I did
moment.
it.
You're trying to find the kind of
That's
person
how I
that you
did it. So
be,
late
right?
20s, dove into counseling.
Yeah.
And then 30s, my 30s are kind of spent, more counseling, learning who I am, career change and stuff, and music, playing more guitar, being in bands, doing art, with different friends, maybe some spirituality with some friends I meet, customers, right? Random. trusting the universe. Hey, it put me
Yeah.
together with this person. Let's be friends and stuff. Learning and stuff. Just I dove in. I personal growth, did workshops and stuff. You know, damn right, I changed, and I am totally different personality. I was absolute introvert. Now I'm absolute
Good.
extrovert. I love myself. I love my life. I love a lot of things that are going on. I consciously changed. Consciously decided to change. I was done with that. I could talk about forever all the things I did in trial and error, but I'm so grateful I took that step and I made it happen.
See, I'm the opposite
Ah,
of you. You know, I was always out and running around. I mean, I said in my last a couple of last episodes there, I had a shitty childhood.
we yeah
Besides my mom did the
yeah.
best that she could, you know? She was my mom and she was my dad, you know, and she was on disability trying to raise 2 kids, you know? And my dad's a longshoreman and he's not fucking doing anything for us. He's got another family he cares about, right? So it was really hard. So I didn't really feel loved, even though my mom loved me and everything. I didn't have that fatherly bond that us men need, you know? You need that fatherly bond. So I fucking ended up joining a gang, you know, and we did stupid shit, you know, and I got some fucking stories, and someday maybe I'll share some of them. But I mean, yeah, it was fucking crazy, you know, and I was out partying all the time. Mind you, I was 18 years old and I inherited $140,000.
Oh yeah.
I blew that. I blew it in 4 months. I had the best fucking 4 months of my life. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that. I lived and I had a good time. I'm a fucking idiot. I'll tell you
we're
that now as an older man, I'm a fucking idiot, but you know what? I had the best fucking time of my life, you know, and it
hip
was
hop
great.
video,
I
right?
mean, I tell you, I had a lot more friends than I thought I did. I'll tell you that, you know, and then all of a sudden that money left, man, and there's only a couple people around. But, like, I partied, man. I had so much fun. It was awesome. I was buying out the bars with my buddies, just being a fucking idiot. You know, at the end of the day, there's 2 people that stick around that I still talk to out of all
Yeah.
those people, and one of them is my best friend. But, I mean, so now, after having my daughter, fuck, I don't even wanna go out. I just wanna stay at home, watch Netflix, smoke a joint,
I
and
love chilling.
relax. You know, I don't really drink. I drink on maybe special occasions, but
Me
I'm not a
too.
big drinker, you know? But I'll play some video games, hang out with some friends at the house usually, hit my hot tub, like, just take it easy, man, you know, I've done that. I just wanna work, make some money, and give my daughter the best life that I can.
Can I ask you a question? Uh, do you think? Do
Yeah,
you
man.
think, especially men, do we need to get it out of our system when we're young like that? I was going to call like a hip hop video. I'm picturing a hip hop video. I was going to say, forgive me out there. This is not who I am, but like, what was it? Boats, booze, and bitches. The thing that came to mind, right? When you're 140 grand
I mean,
partying,
it's not for everybody. It really wasn't it's not for everybody, right? And especially that lifestyle, it gets old
right?
fast, you know? You're up all night, you're partying, you're like I'm telling you, I've done a lot of cocaine in my life, man. I've done a lot in that life, you know what I mean? And, like, we'd party all night and then wait till the morning, go liquor store at 9 in the morning and fucking do it all over
Oh
again. Like,
man! But
it was
Joey, how about you?
stupid. I do not
Uh,
That's what I think. Part of me
don't do
thinks
this.
like all guys have to get something like that out of the system, otherwise they kind of act out later if they're married. Do you think so or no?
when it comes to the partying side and like, you know,
Yeah.
when I look back at my like early 20s and like I was DJing in a strip bar, I was running MCing the biggest wet t-shirt contest once a week at 22 years old. You're buying drinks with strippers. Like it was fun, but when I look back and and people say, "Oh, that's your early 20s, you got to party," and I say that if I could give advice to put in the most work that you can into yourself and into your life in your 20s so that your 30s and
Yeah.
40s are just so much more calm and easy because right now I'm 41 and I'm just basically starting to change my life in different areas because of the poor choices I made 20
Mhm.
years ago. Because
Same.
I didn't put my head down.
100%.
I always worked hard. I partied hard at 20, but I always worked hard. But just because you work hard doesn't mean you're balling and making a bunch of money. It just means you got a good work ethic. And I always
Yeah.
worked hard, but I didn't get very far
Yeah.
for years, and I
Yeah.
worked my ass off. So if I would have channeled that and into something, into more self love and bettering your life and taking, not even necessarily going to college, because I even when I was DJing, I was going to university for culinary arts to be a chef. So I have a degree in that from 20 plus years ago. I just never followed through with it because different story, but I really enjoyed it at the time. So whether it's college or university or just trying to build on yourself to set yourself up, I wish I would have done that and listened to my dad and certain things 20 years ago with
Yeah.
RSPs and fucking savings and all this.
Yeah.
A million percent, because now, like I said, I'm making up for that now, right? I'm finally at a better place,
Yeah.
but very, very late start because I chose, like a lot of people do. Well, you got to get out of your system, and fucking, I'm dancing on a stage in a strip bar, fucking doing body shots, and it's
Accomplishing nothing.
but at the end of the day, it
Yeah.
accomplished me nothing, and it just held me back years of my life. Even in
But you know what?
Yep.
1 year of partying like that, every weekend you're going out 20, 21 years old. Well, fuck 10 years of your life up. I
You know
shoot.
what? You
Yep.
could be. I mean, I'm not. You're not going to give yourself a pass. I'm learning who you are. Though at 22, what like would someone expect differently given adversity as a child the whole time? 20 straight years of a storm of never seeing the blue sky, not even knowing it was behind those clouds, right? So of course, and kind of not the same thing, but in a way, similar
Yeah.
ways, all of us we can't really be held responsible for making bad decisions in the early 20s. It would have been great if we made better decisions then instead of set
Hmm.
ourselves up now. So yeah, it's our responsibility to do it. It's hard as hell to realize at that age, even 30 for me, right? Like, okay, 28, I'm done with this. Oh, I got anxiety. Oh, I have ADHD. Oh, maybe a little bit of depression here and there. I'm unhappy.
You say that now. You didn't spend 140 grand in 3 months though, or four
Yeah, I
months.
didn't. Yeah, you're to blame for that one, Eric. Yeah, no, that's different. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, but no, seriously, seriously though, you ain't to blame for that. Like it's your responsibility. But if you're that young, like it's just things that happened to you before that shaped us into making these bad decisions. Really, it is. It's our responsibility to fix it. But at 20 years old, how are we expected to do that? Maybe 100 years ago, men had to grow up at 20 and they had to figure stuff out. You're having kids by then. You're working hard. You got your own house and you're chopping wood in the backyard till 10 p.m. and you never see your kid and everything. All right, it's a crazy different life,
Yeah.
but you're still dealing with that trauma. And that's why we're all messed up today because those guys had to do it and life was harder back then. There's no technology. I think talk about parenting. Talk about why we're so messed up today. Why are there so many co-parents today? Why are we all single? Why is divorce happening so much? Why can't we freaking stay together as a couple, as parents, for our damn kids? What's wrong with us? Maybe it's partly because of centuries or millennia
Social
of
media, bro.
trauma,
I'm telling you, man.
millennia of generational trauma. When people talk about generational trauma and things like that can impact you generation to generation, and like, oh, you're undoing generations of trauma. That's why you need so much damn counseling. That's why that's why you got to spend all your money on counseling,
Mhm.
like I've kind of done, and I don't regret it all. And I'm like, I just want to do more and more. The more money I make, the more I have, the more counseling I want to do. I love talking about it. And you can even you start to do it with your partner maybe sometimes,
Mhm.
or with a friend, the podcast or whatever. You don't always need the counselor. You just gotta learn a bit about mental health, learn about your tendencies, learn about your own stuff, solve your main issues with whatever help. I think it's counseling. I think it's the only way, really. Maybe God, right? Things like that, maybe, and which I've delved into as well. I love having a faith now. It's freaking just brand new to me, and that kind of stuff helps. Meditation, etc. Doing good things for your body, right? Your physiology links to your psychology. All of it links together. You can do magical things by yourself or with the help. But I'm trying to say. Uh, we got to get over the bad stuff that's holding us back, is making us do the bad decisions in our 20s, whatever it is. Then we got to level up. Then we got to keep going and hold responsibility for our kids, even if you don't have kids, and have that life that you know you can have. It just takes a hell of a lot of work, but it's damn better than the alternative of just sitting there like a freaking person on a log, which is a lot of people, unfortunately, they don't know they can have some other option. They're wasting their life away, and I'm so done with that. You said the other day, Eric, on the phone about it's like your mission, and you want to do this, and it's a calling, and you feel so good, or whatever it is. I put words in your mouth. It's
Yeah, man.
awesome to find like a
Yeah.
mission, a calling, and purpose, and do something to show people there's this other alternative. You don't have to have that life, and we can help you do it. Let's do it together. Like right
Yeah.
now, like guys, I'm gonna email you later. I'm
Well, I
gonna call
felt
you again. Help me do more. I want to do more.
you can come on and help anytime, buddy.
You know,
But I mean, like, that's what it is. I've always felt like I was built for something more. I felt like I had this emptiness in me, and like I've done lots of stuff. I'm a ticketed bodyman. I can weld. I'm a
nice.
carpenter. I do, but I just don't feel
Oh,
full. And then when me and Joey started this podcast, I feel full.
nice.
Even after my fiance passed away, you would feel empty. Definitely, like I felt empty at that point. And then we started the podcast, and it just filled my
Respect.
cup. And this, I feel like this is what I'm here to do. I want to help people. I feel that this is why I've been put on this earth, and this is my
You know, guys,
purpose.
you're the
And I think Joey feels.
sorry. Man, just it fires me up so much too. I
No,
can
you're
feel
good.
you, and you guys are the perfect hosts for this kind of show. And I mean, you're helping guys already. You're helping me. I ain't going nowhere. I know you said that on the podcast a few times, Joey, for some episodes. We ain't going nowhere. We're doing this
Yeah.
because I need some more help. I want to level up so much more. I got so much more to give. I don't feel full, but I'm doing either. I ain't full. I'll tell you, people, yeah,
Mhm.
that pest boss, pest control business. I'm so grateful I got my own business. I can do things in that, whatever. A lot of pros on that.
Mhm.
I ain't full. I want more career and or life and purpose. And my kids make me
Mhm.
feel close to full. And they give me all that stuff. Obviously, they give me. And yeah, there's just so many levels you can level up.
I'm talking about my soul, you know what I mean? Like my
Right.
soul and my purpose. Like my kid's always like she's gonna make me feel full every day. You can't
It's
fucking spill
different.
that cup. You know what I
That's
mean?
a
That shit's
different
gotta
cup, right?
be lip on.
But I
You know what I
mean,
mean?
Right. Right.
life
Yeah,
is always
exactly.
going to spill that cup, and it's going to happen over and over again. But and that's a part of you know when these things happen, and you're able to take those experiences and even those traumas, or be like I said, because life is gonna kick you in the face fucking numerous times as you keep getting older and older. Even if your cup is full, doesn't mean life's not gonna knock it over from time to time again, right? So it's
When should we tell our kids
Mm.
that, Joey? Hey, have you told your kids that yet? Just so you know, life will kick you in the face many times. Okay, just so you know,
oh fuck.
we gotta have a plan, buddy. You gotta have a plan for when that happens.
Well, that's it, right? And I mean,
Well,
it's when your cup is, it's like everyone wants to be happy, and happy is great, but so many people I think get more stressed and depressed because they're trying so hard to be happy and they can't, right? So people realize too is that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be sad for a day or two or whatever. It's okay to get angry. That's human
feel
emotions,
it, man.
right? But that also
Mhm.
comes with the choices that you're making in your life and the path that you take and the mindset that you're using on these things that has happened to you, on the things that happen to you going forward, right? So that's totally up
And
to
be
being
aware too.
self-aware, right? But if it wasn't for it, maybe going back when we were talking about the partying, with the doing those in your 20s, and I might even agree with you too,
Mhm.
is that if you didn't do that stuff, I wouldn't have learned a lot about myself because I didn't do that. And it wasn't the right choices, that's for sure, because I made a lot of dumb ones, let alone the traumas that's happened to me out of
Yep.
my control. I've also made stupid ass fucking choices and done a lot of dumb shit. But if it
Yep,
wasn't
right
for
here.
that dumb shit
Yep.
and partying and this and that, I'm not saying that that's what people should do. And
Yeah,
that was when I said it about putting your head down in your 20s is more of an advice, and not do what I did is what it was more
right.
about. But
Oh
like
yeah.
you said, the maturity level too at 20 is a lot different than 40, right? So You know, you're at high school, you're
Kids
partying, you
still,
want to
man.
do a couple lines at a house party and go fucking smoke weed and do this and do that. That's but in that, as long as you're able to take those experiences and grow from it and learn from it, because when I look back, I'm like, man, you are a fucking idiot. What a loser. Because I
Yeah,
remember,
so
you know what I mean. But you got to be able
Mhm.
to take that and well, whatever it is, and the life kicks you that cup over is to refill it the best that you can because it's never going to stay full, but it's you got to keep it as full as you can with the choices that you make in your life and the direction that you try to go in your life to keep that full. And like I said earlier, like if people in this victim mentality, your cup will never be full because you're just fucking putting it over here and blaming them, and that's why they did this and they did that, and you're living in a constant state of depression and misery because you're not taking accountability and you just live in the past, right? But
it's got to be a
Yep.
recipe.
it's up to us to keep that glass full. Nobody else.
We're
Nobody
making that
else.
recipe
Yeah.
now.
This okay. He sparked so many thoughts in me because there's got to be a recipe for having a successful life. Okay, and men are very different than women. Okay, so and we're talking about men right now. The three of us are men, and yeah. So it's like I was gonna say, when you're young, you got to take actions. You got to do something. You got to take some risks, right? Like maybe you make decisions. And maybe they have merit, and you think,
Yeah.
hey, it sounds like a smart decision. Let's do this. It's not partying. It's like let's go to Europe. Okay, I went to Europe. I spent 8 grand in 8 days. Is that what it was? 5 grand in 8 days. 5 grand in 8 days in Europe, 12 years ago or something.
Yeah. But was it worth it?
Of course, 100%. Like, man, it's a good.
You made
Of course.
memories, right? You
So I
made
took action.
memories,
I
man.
was 30 something at the time, but like when you're young, you have to do something. You can't be afraid of making mistakes. You got to do something. So you got to do something. You got to calculate it.
Yeah.
You got to be self aware. I love the self awareness because I was talking earlier too about am I
Mhm.
happy? If not, why not? Right? You got to get some help. Even like hopefully your parents are good. If they're not, like your sibling, cousins, friends, whoever, someone, teacher, someone. There are great people everywhere, right? That's why I found a lot of them were podcast
Mhm.
hosts, right? You can join that club, guys. And we got that's like the recipe I'm talking about. It's got to be a formula, a recipe, more or less, to have a successful adult life as man at least, and a woman. There's another recipe for a woman because we can't just
Well,
fall.
we're trying to do that right now,
I
man.
know. Like that's why I love talking about like little
You
things.
know?
Like if I'm a 19-year-old guy right now listening to this and I'm depressed or I'm unhappy and I know there's something wrong, but I don't know everything, I want to be self-aware. Okay, oh, counseling. Oh, I can't afford counseling. Well, maybe let's get a better job just so I can afford counseling. Let's do construction or even pest control is somewhat lucrative, right? There's always a better paying job. We always have skills. We can't get in that box where we think, oh, I'm not good enough. I don't have enough skills. I can't, right? The last thing you want to say to yourself is I can't, or I'm not good enough at X or Y or Z. So take a risk, talk to people, be vulnerable, be bold, do something, fail, get back up, learn, try something else, talk to
Yeah.
different people. There's men's groups everywhere. That's what I love now. We're so fortunate today. There's men's groups. There's counseling. There's
Mhm.
ayahuasca. There's journeys and stuff like that. All kinds of things. There's people are
Yeah.
microdosing on psychedelic mushrooms now for like helping depression. That's a crazy story these days. People are doing all kinds of
Yeah.
things like that spirituality, God, like I said, everything. There's so many things you can do.
You know, I did mushrooms because I was so fucking
Yeah.
depressed, man. And my buddy, he had, let's just say, one of the biggest mushroom farms in BC, underground. So he was on what was it, Vice City or Vice Land, that
Wow.
show. He was on there with his mask and everything. But anyway, so he's like, man, I'm telling you, this is when I was pretty much ready to just give up for the second time in my life. And he's like, you got to try mushrooms, man. He's like, just take like 3 grams, stay at home, listen to some good music, go for the ride, and you'll be okay. And I'm shit you not. I'm not saying go out there and do mushrooms. Don't get me wrong. Ain't no fucking counselor, ain't no doctors,
Irresponsibly and
like I always
stuff by
say.
yourself.
This is my own experience. Yeah, like this is my own experience. I mean, I'm not encouraging you guys to do anything like that. I don't encourage other drugs, anything. but this was an experiment, something that I needed to do for myself. So I did this, and halfway to falling asleep, this voice came in my head, and it said, I remember it clearly, like it was someone was speaking this into my ear, and it says, "Close your eyes, go to sleep, and when you wake up, everything will be okay." And I woke up and I felt like $1,000,000. I
No
shit
way.
you not, I felt like $1,000,000. A true story, man. I swear on my kid's life. It was a temporary fix. Don't get me wrong, because fucking shit happens. You gotta. It's like making bread. You got to keep on working on it. Make it until it fucking makes. You got to put love into that and shit. You got to make that shit.
Yeah.
So you can't just like, okay, that's an easy fix. No, like you got to work on it. But I mean, it helped me. And I'm not saying go out there, it's gonna help everybody, but it's something that I needed to do on my
I've
journey.
heard people have realizations like that. This
And like it
shaman, I know someone that had like a legit shaman come and like, okay, we do this. There's a small dose, whatever. There's a podcast on it. There's a
mhm,
lot of research on it. And like I said, there's tons of resources, and the stigma is kind of evaporating. So there's so much help out there. One may say, there's no more excuse for being super alone, depressed, suicidal. There's so much help out there, and it's not necessary, right? It isn't the end result. And I don't kind of subscribe to the theory that some people just don't have hope and you can't help everybody. I think you can help everybody.
Well, and the biggest thing in
well, that's
that
what we're
too
trying to
is
do.
there's starting, like you said, there's a lot more resources out there, and we're trying to be a resource as well. But I think a big part of that is because it's true, is most people, especially men, are in denial and don't take
Right.
accountability and are afraid to say, "I'm fucked up. I need
Self
help.
awareness.
I need help." And they know it. Most guys know it. They know they fucked up. They know they're struggling. They know they need help. They, oh, I don't cry, but I bet you they're crying in their room when nobody's around. They're hurting. They're struggling. But
Right?
you got to drop, and I said this before, then the best piece of advice I ever got told, and
The
I didn't,
ego.
is drop the fucking ego. If you drop that ego and just say, and
Yep.
don't care what people think because you reached out for help, that is huge. And I promise
Strength.
you, your life will change that day just for reaching out for help because you are
That's
so
strong.
self aware and realizing, like,
Mhm.
hey, I have a problem and I need help. Just like addicts and alcoholics, right?
Yep.
They get to a point, whatever happens in their life, or they get, and they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I need help. And that's your first step, just like in their program, is admitting you have a problem and then going from there. Because if you keep denying that you have a problem, just like people who are overweight, you'll never lose it because they keep telling, I'm not fat. I just might need to lose, but really they could be fucking 100 pounds overweight, but they just don't want to believe it. And if you're not true to yourself and honest with yourself, how can you change anything in your life? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's the guys listening is you got to drop the ego, and it's okay to say, man, I'm hurting. I need help.
To embrace, that's a key word these days. Buzzword, vulnerability, be vulnerable. Like that's where the strength comes out of. That's
Yep.
what makes you strong. It's a weakness to hide it and say and pretend to be stronger, or have a denial, or not look at yourself properly. Admitting that, being vulnerable, meaning humble, and like having that kind of fear is not comfortable, and like the discomfort is where the growth happens. And what was I going to say? Can I tell you about? It's very quick. About my first counseling session ever. I remember that easily too. And I was having like I would twitch. I was like so fidgety, right? I see it even today sometimes, and I was so self conscious about it. And that was what prompted me to go to therapy. I was like twitching my face and stuff. I was all fidgety. What's going on with my body here? Went to the doctor first, right? Medical doctor.
Mhm.
And and I think I have OCD. I'm doing these weird things, right? And she even says, medical doctor, the clinic, maybe a little bit weird, but I don't think you have that. I'm like, but here's a card for a counselor we referred to sometimes. So I called her up, made a session appointment, and then that first session, oh, she's like, oh, yeah, that's anxiety. That's just anxiety. That's your skeletal system getting the energy out. You have to move your body, get the energy out, right? Is exercise good for the body? That's why I exercise is so good for depression and anxiety, all these things. So, oh, well, thanks for telling me that first session. And then as so long ago, it was like $140, whatever. Back when counseling was super cheap. Some people are still cheap like that actually.
Mhm.
And by the end of the session, we opened up so much. I was so vulnerable, and I was so, she helped me become so self-aware, and I learned so much about myself in that 1 hour that at the end of the session, I was writing a check to her. Couldn't even write it. I couldn't. I was shaking. My body was shaking. My hand was shaking. I couldn't write the check. I stopped and breathed. Okay, barely could get it done, and then like I left, and I'm walking, and I'm like an aura and like vibration was just going off like that, and I felt so good. I felt free. The stuff melted away from me. I had hope. I knew someone was in my corner. Someone cared about me. Someone was there. Sure, I had to pay him. Her didn't know at the time. I saw his counselor on and off for 8, 9, 10 years. Went back when I had my daughter and
Mhm.
things were rough, right? When we just, things were difficult with her mom. And I went back to her, and man, that's where I needed to be. Because wasn't able to do it all by myself. I wasn't a freaking Superman, knew everything. I didn't know everything. I was dealing with my own past trauma wasn't solved yet, and then my kid's mom's evident trauma, and
It takes an
needed an
army, man.
army.
It takes
It
an
sometimes
army.
does. That's how they used to
Yeah,
do it.
and that's what we're making. The raw minds
Oh
army.
man,
That's what we're doing.
damn right.
I'll
See you
I'll
next
I'll
week.
say something real quick that
Yeah.
kind of relates. There was one time a while back when I was like a couple years ago. I was really when I really reached wanted to reach out for counseling and realized I got to a point like I can't keep feeling like this. Is I went to work one day and I was messed up. I knew it. I don't even know how I went to work. I was so down. I was so I told myself I'm going to the doctor after work. I'm asking for help because something needs to change. And that morning, and I didn't know who I was going to go see. I just knew I was going to go to the doctor and beg him to point me in the right direction. But that morning at work, I put a nail right through my finger, like straight through.
Whew.
And I had to leave work early and it was stuck in my finger and I had to go to the hospital to get it pulled out. So while I'm sitting there and I'm struggling, I'm hurting, I'm sad, I'm down. I didn't even care about the nail. I'm just sitting there and I asked the doctor while he's freezing my finger to pull this thing out and I said, "Doc, on the side note, can you help me?" I said, I need to talk to somebody. I don't know where to go. I don't know where to start." And he's like, "Let me help." And he was super nice. And he said, "Let me." And then 20 minutes later, while the nail's still in my hand, waiting for the freezing, bandaged up, this lady came from downstairs, a counselor, like a hospital, for trauma that comes in and,
Yeah,
whatever. And she sat with me for an hour and a half. And in that hour and a half, I've never broke down to a counselor. It was like that floodgate just opened, and I'd never even met this lady ever, but I just the energy I got from her, and I was sitting there with a nail in my finger waiting, and I talked to this lady for an hour and a half, and what I learned in an hour and a half just by talking, I walked out of that hospital like Eric said after doing mushrooms, like completely different, and all within a couple hours of visiting that hospital, because what she told me, because a lot of people, like putting the blame on people and they don't take accountability. But then I started just in 1 hour and a half from what I told her and her relating back to me. And she's like, "No, you did this because of you, not because of them, because of this different perspectives." And I broke down and I'm like, holy fuck. Like I learned just in an hour and a half, I can feel like this. I can learn that much just by talking about my problems and what was really
yeah.
hurting. So
See,
that was a blessing that I had to go to the hospital because I was going to go anyways. I just didn't know where I was going.
wow. And
But
you found the right person. That person was there because of the nail by accident or divinity or whatever it was. But man, can I say something? Man, that's amazing. I got emotional when you said that. I freaking felt my sinuses go when you said that because it's like I'm so grateful for that woman that did that for you and spent an hour and a half. There's no money there. She's getting paid for the
no,
hospital.
cost
She
me
didn't have
nothing.
to, and she probably had other people to go see and everything too. She said I had the similar experience, like you said. Yeah, this woman, this counselor, I wrote the biggest review for her. She's a freaking Jedi. Like I said, like I love you. It's in the middle of the session sometimes. Like she's a Jedi and knew everything about me and solved so many of my problems. and and yeah, like, and dude, you know what? When you both of us, I think, and Eric, I'm sure you have a similar story. We advocated for ourselves. That was like the moment where we said, "I'm not doing this anymore. I'm doing something else. I'm
Yeah,
talking to someone. I'm getting help. I'm admitting this. I'm taking a big step." That's a huge step. Someone finally is advocating for me, and it's me. And then someone else
yeah,
also advocated for
yeah,
you. And what can you do when multiple people are rowing the boat in the same direction for you
yeah,
and for me and for you and for everyone else out
yeah,
there? If you just take that one step. So I'm shaking. I can't write the check.
yeah,
You have that freaking load, unload off you, your experience. That's what it is. Finally, I'm ready to improve and grow and
yeah.
be me because I fucking matter.
The phone call that I was gonna be a father
Oh,
was my
oh.
bing moment. That moment, yeah, I got a phone call from my kid's mom, and at the time I was actually selling drugs, and she calls me and she's like, I'm pregnant." I'm like, "I'll call you right back." And I hung up the phone on her. I called my best friend and I'm like, "I quit. I'm done. I'm walking away from everything. I'm gonna be a dad. This is what I wanted. I don't want any money from this. I don't want any ties to it. You're my best friend. You'll always be my best friend. But other than that, I want nothing to do else." And I went, dropped off all the products, my phone, everything, called her back. I'm like, "Okay, I'm ready to be a dad." And that moment, it changed
No
my whole life.
way. Just like that.
Yeah, pretty
Moments
crazy.
can do that, eh?
Just like that, man.
You're kidding.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, man. So in grade 8, I was hanging out with a bunch of bad people, you know. Well, not they're not bad people, just people that
Good
made bad
call.
decisions, and I was one of them, you know. And we hung out with this guy's older brother, and he was affiliated with some shit, and he was doing drugs all the time. Grade 8, we wanted to be cool. We want to hang out with his brother. Ended up doing drugs. I was addicted to meth. Didn't even know what it was. This is 8 years old. This shit wasn't even around. We didn't even know what the fuck it was at this time. He just called it
Yeah.
happy drug. And I was every day after school, we'd go to his house and do it every day. And I lost so much fucking weight. My mom turned to me and she's like, "Are you on drugs?" In an instant, I never touched it ever again.
Some kind of
Walked away
awareness.
from it. And it's
Oh, wait.
exactly, you got to be
Wait a second.
awareness.
Thanks, Mom. Yeah, what the hell am I doing? That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
another amazing story. You
You know
guys
what I
are full
mean?
of these
And I didn't
stories, I
want to
know.
I don't I don't swear in front of my mom. I never have. I am very polite, you know, and she was everything to me. She raised me, you know, so I give her the most respect. She's an amazing person, just an amazing person. The hell that I put her through. I had CSIS kicking my door. My house is being shot up. I put her through hell. Put her through hell. I've had people who show up at my house trying to fight me. I've had cops. I got charged with attempted murder when I was 17 years old. I put her through hell, and she always had my back. She always had my back. You know, so I owe everything to her. She's my
We're a
hero.
solid person.
She is my hero.
Heroes, superheroes do walk among
Yeah,
us. That's amazing.
yeah. But I think on that note, I think we should end it
Yeah.
there. It was a pleasure to have you, man. I really appreciate it. You know, you're more than welcome to come back anytime, and definitely we'll talk.
Thanks.
And yeah, we really
No,
appreciate it.
pleasure's
Thank you
mine,
so
a
much,
thousand
Kyle.
percent. And huge, massive thank you because this is like my purpose too, helping people, talking about it, giving people that alternative option and not succumbing to what they've kind of been handed.
Hmm.
And you know what,
100.
too, Kyle. In the future, man,
You're
we
more.
obviously keep in touch, man. You're good people, and I got nothing but love for you, man. And thank you as well from my side. And we'll keep in touch, man, because
Yep.
we're going to be doing a lot in this new year for, even doing maybe some charities and really maybe we can work on some projects together, man, and try to get people together and really help each other, So
We'll fill that cup for you. We'll
yeah,
fill
man.
that cup.
Thanks, Kyle. Talk to you soon, brother.
All right, buddy. Easy. Thank you so much, man. Take it easy, brother. It's all good, buddy. Take it easy. Thank you for coming.
Yeah,
Wow.
but
All right.
another great show, as always.
Yep. Just keep on getting good,
Better and better.
better. Gooders.
There's-
They're gooders. Gooders. Yeah.
No, it just it
Well,
makes my day to be able to sit here with Eric, man, and talk to you guys listening. Is just it really does, And we're talking about counseling and reaching out, but this is my therapy too, that I be able to talk about these things and show you guys that it's okay to talk.
mhm.
Like I'm on open air talking about the deepest shit possible half the time, and but so you guys know is because of it, it's really helping me get better and dealing with my own issues and traumas because I can talk about it. And if people are gonna judge you and judge
Yep.
me, then I don't really give a fuck because I'm fixing me. You have to be selfish. You have to. And in order to fix yourself for your kids and for your family and your surroundings, and so let people talk, man, and but just focus on you and fixing your core issues and do what you have to do. Whatever that outlet is in the positive, start now. Do it. And if you guys are really having a
Yep.
really hard time, like we always put it out there, is to email us, please. rawmindspodcast@gmail.com. Myself, Eric, we respond, we answer, to every message. We reach out. You don't have to use your name, your real name. That's fine. You can leave your phone number if you want us to call you. And just talk because that's what we're here for. So
Yeah, man. I mean, that's our goal, and this is our hobby, man. We love this. Like I said, like I feel like this is my purpose, and I know Joey, you've said this too. Like this is what we want to do and help people. So like reach out, like Joey says, hit us up. I mean, we're on TikTok, we have Instagram, we're gonna be having a Facebook account. Hit us on YouTube, Spotify, whatever it is. Just hit us up. We'll answer it. We'll talk. You want to come on, say some shit, be vulnerable. We would appreciate, you know, just to help other men out there. It's just, it's a community that we want to build right now and help each other.
100%.
So
And that's what we're doing. That's why we're doing this. And it
yeah,
means the world to us. So,
I think we're gonna change the world, brother. I think we're gonna change it. You know, that's
yeah.
what we want to do.
If we can help at least one person,
We've already,
that's all that matters. So,
yeah,
on that note,
yeah,
on my side, I will say good night to everyone, and we will see you all next week. And if you can't find good people, be good people.
all right, all you sexy motherfuckers out there, we appreciate you all. We appreciate your support. You know, we were so just filled with joy with everything. So I guess we'll see you on episode number 10. Anyways, be good or be good at it. Bye.